One of the best exotics for hunters actually just got a change, and it's arguably better than what it was. Now, what I'm referring to is the exotic Gerfalcon's Halberg. As we all know previously, this is one of the strongest exotics in the game for both PvE and PvP, and they had to actually change it up for PvP specifically because it was dominating the Crucible. So with that change, obviously it got changed in PvE as well, but I honestly think I like it more now than what it once was. So in this video, I want to show off a build for it and what you can expect the performance to be of it. All right, so let's jump right into it. We need to go over the change to Gerfalcon's Halberg. Now, this is a lot, so like I said in my previous video, grab some popcorn. So we have the exotic trait See Me, Feel Me. Your void weapons gain volatile rounds after you emerge from being invisible. When you are invisible and defeat a combatant while using a finisher, all of your weapons gain bonus damage. You and your nearby allies gain a reserve overshield and improved class ability regeneration. These reserve overshields can be deployed by using a class ability. So that's a lot. The change now is that you will be granted volatile rounds instead of a damage boost when you're exiting invisibility. Volatile rounds is obviously extremely strong for helping out with ad clear of the AoE part of the build, but the damage boost obviously used to give you more damage, which made it better for single target. And I don't think this exotic isn't good for single target anymore. If you are using a void power weapon and go invisible, then shoot, you're going to be doing a lot of extra damage with that volatile, because volatile is not only good for ad clear, it will add a lot of extra damage. It's kind of like how some stasis things in the game can add shatter damage. All that extra damage will stack up, and it makes it extremely easy to proc it. There's no other way in the game right now to just guarantee you volatile rounds. The only way to get them is by getting a grenade kill with a fragment. And honestly, this exotic makes it feel like Witch Queen launch again, back when they had the mod where you could pick up a void element 12 to grant volatile rounds. It is extremely strong, and I think you all know how strong that was back in the day, and that is back, and that's what this exotic is. Now, volatile rounds is not its only thing. We haven't even gotten to its unique interactions with that yet, but you also do have the ability to finish an enemy while you're invisible to actually get that damage increase. This probably won't be utilized a lot, but that is there. If you do see an enemy that's weak and you're invisible, you can go finish them, and now you're going to get that damage increase alongside coming out of invisibility with your volatile rounds. And you will also still give your teammates that overshield when you finish the enemy, and then everybody can use the class ability to grant that overshield. Oh, and you also get improved class ability generation. There is literally so much this exotic does, and all it takes is just getting one finisher. And if you don't even want to play into the finishing aspect of it, you can just always have guaranteed volatile rounds 24/7. So how are we going to do that though? So the main things we need to go over now are the aspects. The aspect of vanishing step is going to be extremely strong, so dodging is going to make you invisible. This is going to be a great way to proc it if you're going into a boss fight or just any fight where there's nothing to really kill. You could just hit your dodge ability, go invisible, come out, and boom, you have volatile rounds now. If you want to take Trapper's Ambush, this could also work. I honestly just prefer running Vanishing Step because you get 2 fragments, but Trapper's Ambush could work for you too. The main aspect is Stylus Executioner. This is broken, honestly, with this build. So when you defeat a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target, it's going to grant you invisibility and true sight. And it also has, after performing a Stylus Executioner, your next melee attack while invisible will weaken targets. So that's a pretty cool added benefit, but the main thing is that top part. So whenever you defeat any void debuffed enemy, which you're going to be doing anyway all the time because your Gerfalcon's is giving you volatile rounds, you are going to go invisible. If you come out of this Stylus Executioner invisibility, this procs Gerfalcon's Halberg exotic trait, and it also reprocs. And what I mean by that is that there is never any downtime. You don't have to wait for the volatile rounds to go down to 0 seconds and do it again. If you're at 6 seconds, you go invisible, come out again, it resets it back to 10. It is a constant refresh, and since you're always going in and out of invisibility all the time with Stylus Executioner, since again your volatile rounds do count as debuffs, you literally have infinite uptime with volatile rounds. I cannot stress just how crazy that is. In any ad clear situation, you would just always be better 24/7 because of all the explosions you're creating, and you also are making yourself invisible, which helps out with survivability of the build because 9 times out of 10 nothing will actually shoot you. And then true sight is there too if you need to see some enemies coming from somewhere, but that's just an added little benefit as well, like the second part. So with that being said, we can now play into our fragments, which is going to help us even more with things like Echo or Remnant, so your grenade's going to last longer. I'm taking Vortex Grenade. You can now heavily play more into your grenades now instead of having to really focus on getting your mobility up like I did in my last build, so you can keep proccing Vanishing Step, since Stylus Executioner is doing it for you 24/7 anyway. So I'm definitely going to try to play into my grenades a lot. And speaking of that, we're taking Echo of Undermining, so your void grenades weaken targets. Now this is really good, not only for the fact that it will weaken the targets, but since your void grenade is killing an enemy with weaken, It also is proccing Stylus Executioner, which means you come out and you have volatile rounds again. So now you have your grenade granted volatile rounds and your dodge that will grant you volatile rounds. The dodge is more so just if you're going into a boss fight, like I said, you can just guarantee the proc and you have nothing to kill. Now we have Echo of Persistence, so all the void buffs applied to me, invisibility, overshow, and devour will last longer. Main thing is going to be invisibility and devour right here because we're taking Echo of Starvation. So picking up an overpower grants devour. Devour is very strong. If you don't know what it does, every time you get a kill, you get restored to max health and you get a huge chunk of grenade energy. Every time you also get a kill, it will reproc devour, and it makes it really easy to keep up if you are taking Echo of Persistence because you will get more time on that countdown. And like I said, this also does help with invisibility. It lets you stay invisible longer so you can actually carry that volatile round whenever you need it to the next area. Very, very nice. All of this just synergizes extremely well. You dodge, you get a grenade kill, you get volatile rounds, you're always going invisible, you're always having devour invisibility up, you're weakening everything. And then the super I do like to take is Shadow Deadfall because this also did get buffed. This is just the best debuffing super in the game at this point. If you want to go a more damage route, you can definitely take Mobius Quiver, but I honestly really like Deadfall. And then Marksman Dodge, so it does have the lowest cooldown, and this will also reload your weapon. This will matter a little bit when we get to the weapons. And then speaking of weapons, let's talk about the Unforgiven. So this is a very, very good SMG. You can use whatever void weapon you want to proc volatile rounds. If you like something like a funnel web, you can use that. If you want to use a Doom of Chelchis, you can use that. This is up to you. I just prefer the Unforgiven because it can roll with Demolitionist in this first column. It can also roll with Golden Tricorn, which will pair extremely well with some of our mods, which we'll get into in a second. And it can also roll with Repulsor Brace to give you an overshield when you defeat a void debuffed enemy. Since you're doing that all the time anyway with your Falcon's Halberd, since you're creating volatile rounds, I might honestly argue that you should opt into that because that means you're going to have even more survivability. You're going to have a overshield while you're invisible. You're never going to die, and you can also play into Echo of Persistence with that, so that overshield will last even longer. So you can have infinite overshields if you can get Repulsor Brace on this, but if you don't want to go that route, Golden Tricorn is a great damage option. So what this is going to do, you get a kill, you get some damage increase, but then if you get a ability kill, it will actually make this a 50% damage increase weapon. That is insanely strong. Since you're going to be spamming grenades everywhere anyway, you're going to keep this 50% up all the time, and you're going to have it going with 50% more damage and volatile rounds and other models we haven't even gotten into yet, and this thing can just slay out like crazy. And then for the final thing, another cool thing to note is that Demolitionist will also reload your gun alongside giving you grenade energy when you get kills. So now your dodge and your grenade will actually reload the gun, which I think is a really cool added benefit. For heavies, any void heavy weapon that is, in the meta, Taipan obviously is probably the best go-to option. This is going to be very good for doing some boss damage. You get that volatile rounds procced. It is very, very nice. For stats, definitely go 100 resilience. Try to get 100 discipline if you can. My armor, unfortunately, is not the greatest. I do need to farm some better armor on my hunter. This is just going to allow you to spam weaken grenades. You're going to be very tanky, and just you're going to be able to literally do everything in the game. Now, getting into the mods, we can start off with the helmet. I'm going to be taking a Harmonic Siphon, so whenever I get rapid weapon final blows, this will actually create an orb of power, which, if you remember, will let me proc Devour once I pick it up. This is going to be insanely strong because you need to proc Devour for this build so you can keep getting that grenade energy back and all that health. And to help out with that, I'm also going to be running Utility Finisher. So if I ever have a full super, I can just use this. It's going to use 1/10 of my super, and it's going to restore my class ability. And since it did use 1/10 of my super, I can pick up another orb of power to reproc Devour if you are in a situation where you have your super full and you cannot pick up any orbs. On top of that, with Utility Finisher, this is going to be insanely strong to guarantee your class ability back, again, if you do need to proc volatile rounds wherever you're at and if there's nothing to kill. So that is very, very nice. Now I'm also going to be running a elemental ordnance, so whenever I defeat a enemy with my grenade, I will spawn a void elemental well, which is going to be really, really good. If you saw my helmet, I'm also going to be taking Seeking Well, so that grenade will track to me just to make it even easier. And then I will be taking Will of Tenacity, so whenever I pick up a void elemental well, I will get a damage resistance increase. So this is going to be very, very strong, pairing this with 100 resilience and Devour constantly healing you every single time you get a kill. You're literally going to struggle to die. You're going to have so much resistance, so much health regeneration coming back. And then I also am taking a Font Might, so whenever I pick up a elemental well that matches my subclass type, which is Void, I will be granted even more damage. And then finally, the main mod, which is pretty much in almost every single build right now, is Monochromatic Maestro. So whenever you deal damage with an ability, you get gun damage. Whenever you deal damage with a gun, you get ability damage. Those damage types do have to match. So obviously the Unforgiven will match with Void, and it's going to be a 10% damage increase. Now 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but it does stack with everything. So you have Monochromatic Maestro, you have Phantomite, you have Golden Tricorn, you have guaranteed volatile rounds, all stacking together, and you are just getting these insane damage increases. You have an infinite grenades to apply weaken, which is also giving you a damage buff. You're going invisibility 24/7, and overall this build is just very fun. You have almost infinite uptime on your grenades. You're literally unkillable, and this is definitely in-game ready, and I would highly recommend you all try it out. But that is the build. If you guys would like to try it out, I will have a dim link in the description below. Also, let me know what you think about the Falcon changes. Do you wish it could go back to just being a damage increase and not just permanent volatile rounds 24/7? Damage increase was nice for single target damage, just getting that extra 35% bonus. It was very, very nice, but you don't really need it that much IMO if you're playing on wells and stuff anyway. Sure, the 35% is higher, but getting that volatile rounds with the well might actually add up to do even more damage. We'll just have to wait and see. But I really hope you all enjoyed, and if you guys learned anything new, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all that will be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough, and that every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.